Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. So we are going to see some very up and down conditions throughout the rest of this week, with some very wet conditions at times, some very dry conditions equally in places, some milder and some colder temperatures as well. Colder definitely later on this week, as we do see a brief northwesterly wind, still pretty potent, but yes, pretty brief towards the end of the week. As we'll see from the long range charts for the days leading up to Christmas, for Christmas itself, it is looking like we are going to see a fairly strong westerly flow. The one positive is that high pressure will be nearby or over the top of us, so hopefully it does mean it will be a dry day. However, the air mass does look pretty mild, it does look pretty moist, so it could be that sort of higher pressure that delivers a lot of cloud and a lot of drizzle, which would not be ideal. If I'm being completely honest, that's kind of the worst conditions I would have thought for Christmas. Maybe bar from a big storm or something like that, but yeah, lots of cloud, drizzle, fog really is not good for Christmas Day. Hopefully, though, the days leading after that towards the new year, there are signs it could turn a little bit colder, perhaps even very cold towards the new year's. We do see the tropospheric polar vortex get displaced towards Scandinavia. It could be the first signs of perhaps a bit more of a colder pattern setting up, but that is very much in the longer range. We'll tackle, of course, the short term and that medium to longer term in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy videos which you like, and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now again, if you haven't seen the last couple of videos, you may notice that the formatting and some of the segments in the video are slightly different than usual, and that is because my laptop is currently in repair, so I'm having to record on my phone, unfortunately, but I still wanted to get some videos out. I have fortunately heard today that the laptop is fixed, so hopefully should be able to get that back tomorrow. So this should hopefully be the last badly formatted video, and we should be able to get back to all our normal segments through tomorrow. So sorry for any of that inconvenience, but as I said, should be fixed hopefully tomorrow. So to start on the latest UKV, you can see today has been a fairly cloudy day, but there have been some outbreaks of sunshine at times, but nothing really too major. Some heavy rain in the north, where we've had a yellow warning for rain issued, and it will continue to rain pretty heavily in some of those spots overnight into Tuesday. Now, as we head through Tuesday morning, heavy rain and cloud are going to be building in from the northwest, and yeah, it just looks a pretty miserable day, if I'm being completely honest. For most across England and Wales, it is dry, but by the latter part of the afternoon, we're all starting to see some rain moving in from the west, and yeah, it does not look particularly great as we head into the evening hours. Lots of thick cloud, on and off patches of rain, especially over higher ground, sweeping through as we head into Wednesday morning. As we progress through Wednesday, that rain slowly clears, and by the afternoon, it actually looks a bit brighter and a bit sunnier perhaps, and generally drier as we do head through Wednesday. However, into the afternoon and evening, look at this next big blob of rain moving in, some torrential rain moving in from the west. That is not looking good at all, and yeah, that would be horrible as that moves through this little southerly tracking low with torrential rain. In another scenario, with colder air embedded, we could be looking at significant snow here. But given the atmospheric conditions we're seeing at the moment, no blocking, forcing cold air our way, it is all just going to be cold rain towards Wednesday evening. Fortunately, it does look like it will move through pretty quickly in the matter of a couple of hours, but where it does hit, it will be very heavy and could dump a good inch of rain across a large swathe of England and Wales. Behind its back edge, we start to see the wind veering from a northwesterly direction, and this is the signs of something a bit colder moving in as we head towards the end of the week, and you'll be able to see that we start to see a few wintry showers in northern and western areas, and we do start to see it turning a little bit dry, a bit more sunshine around as we do see these drier, clearer air masses moving through. So you can see into Thursday, a lot more sunshine around, a few wintry showers, but much brighter feel as we do see those colder but drier air mass moving in. Into Friday, unfortunately, we start to see a bit more rain pushing in from the north and west, but nothing too significant. And it just remains chilly and with outbreaks of rain in places through Friday, and eventually into the weekend we start to see that westerly flow properly returning with again more areas of rain. So very up and down this week. Some very heavy rain in places like through Wednesday evening, but equally some sunshine like we'll see on Thursday. After you look at the max temperatures, you can see today it was 10 to 12 degrees, not too bad if we're being completely honest, pretty mild for the time of year, but of course still feeling fresh. It is we are now into the middle part of winter, so it's not going to be particularly mild unless we did see a really strong south to southwesterly wind. As we progress into Tuesday, it's a similar day, kind of 8 to 12 degrees. And as we progress into Wednesday as well, similar conditions. Not expecting any frost the next couple of nights, which is good. Wednesday, though, chillier in the north, but in the south, still 12, 13 degrees. It's really into Thursday where we see much colder conditions. And for Thursday morning, there could be a frost in northern areas. Elsewhere, 3 or 4 degrees. And by the afternoon, not getting much above 5 or 6. A really quite cold day there. Again, pretty potent, but pretty short-lived. And you can see as we head into Friday, it's still chilly, but temperatures back into the mid to high single digits. And by Saturday, once again, we see temperatures potentially 10 to 12 degrees. So chilly for about 36 to 48 hours there through Thursday, Friday, but nothing too severe and nothing too long, not long-lasting. Now, if you move over to the latest GFS, you can see the westerly flow pushing in at the moment, and that's going to continue over the next couple of days with a northwesterly wind arriving later on this week, and that gives us that slightly colder conditions for Thursday and Friday. Eventually, though, we see a west-northwesterly wind arriving once again through the weekend, and then look what happens for the day leading up to Christmas and Christmas itself. We have this westerly flow, pretty far-fetched from the southwest, so it's going to be pretty mild, with higher pressure building in. Under the centre of the high, we could see lots of dry conditions, but as said, there is the risk of some cloud getting trapped underneath it. Again, it's still kind of 8 days away, so we're not going to have a whole boatload of data on exactly what will be under higher pressure for another few days, but this sort of pattern doesn't normally this time of year produce much sunshine, if I'm being completely honest. Especially northern and western areas could even see some quite persistent rain as well from the west. Eventually, though, that high pressure breaks down the days following Christmas, but still, with high pressure around, it does mean it's looking pretty dry for the Christmas period. And then look what happens towards the new year. We see the tropospheric polar vortex displaced towards Scandinavia and Svalbard, high pressure towards the North Atlantic, and this could encourage more north and northwesterly winds. It's not a classic colder pattern, but definitely would be more conducive to colder conditions, below average temperatures, as we do see those winds come in from the north or northwest. So that's something to keep an eye on. Definitely signs it could turn a bit chillier towards the end of 2024 and start of 2025. If you compare to the GEM, broadly very similar, that northwesterly wind coming in later this week, a westerly flow returning, and then another northwesterly arriving through Sunday. That could be pretty chilly there in towards the 23rd of December. But it's the same for Christmas Day, a pretty far-fetched westerly flow. The high pressure's a bit further southwards though, which could mean more areas could see the cloud and gloom, unfortunately. And into the subsequent days, we start to see that transition of the tropospheric polar vortex further eastwards. But by this stage, not seeing anything too significant as it is still here. Only Boxing Day. Now, if you compare to the latest ECMWF, just to finish off for the longer range charts, again, very similar, that northwesterly wind through Thursday, Friday, brief westerly, and then another northwesterly through Sunday, and then eventually high pressure building in a bit further northwards in the GEM there for Christmas Day, so again, could be drier and maybe a bit brighter in the far southwest, maybe even a bit frosty if we saw an inversion take place. But again, the details, exactly what will be under the high pressure, as I said, we'll have to wait another few days to find that out. Eventually, though, we do see the westerly wind starting to break through. And then again, right towards the end of the year, look at this big area of tropospheric polar vortex displaced towards Scandinavia and Siberia. And that could, as I said, bring something colder down the line. Not in the next week or two, but maybe 3 or 4 weeks' time into early 2025. All that cold air displaced to our east, higher than average pressure towards Greenland, it could force north or northeasterly winds and just generally colder air our way. Even if we didn't see a massive block, with that much cold air close by, inevitably some of it will get mixed up with northern and western Europe. So very much one to keep a close eye on, but it is something that is very much in the longer term prospects, nothing immediate at all. And if you finish by looking at the latest ensembles, very up and down over the next couple of days, very changeable, above average, below average, and then as you can see for Christmas Day and Boxing Day and even Christmas Eve, we're a good few degrees above average, not massively mild, but a few degrees, as I said, with higher pressure. So it will be dry, but as I said, could be a lot of cloud and drizzle, and the risk, a small risk of frost if we did see that high pressure properly over the top of us with an inversion taking place. Beyond that, into the final sort of 3 or 4 days of the year, we could, as I said, see those temperatures returning back towards average, some colder charts appearing, but again, not expecting anything too major at this stage. And if you compare to the ECMWF ensembles, to be honest, it's pretty much a carbon copy. Up and down in the next couple of days, much colder later on this week into the weekend, and then again a good few degrees above average into next week before it returns back towards average by the end of the year. So pretty typical as we head towards sort of the festive period, Christmas Eve through to Boxing Day, when, you know, pretty much everyone is off work and we do have, a lot of people at home having meals, bank holidays, of course. It's also like it is going to be very mild and potentially very dry and gloomy as well. We'll have to wait and see, but it does look like we are going to be served up with something fairly mundane for Christmas this year. Still details, of course, to iron out, but I think it is safe to say we're not looking at a particularly wintry Christmas at all this year. Maybe New Year, but not Christmas Day itself. Another year where no significant cold. Definitely did have some prospects, maybe not as high of prospects as we've seen in some prior years. We've seen some big disappointments in this sort of week to 10 days before Christmas. I think it was 2021 where we had some massive disappointments where we had major blocking within some of the charts about a week to 10 days before Christmas, and it pretty much disintegrated. The cold air got very close, but it stayed slightly offshore in the North Sea, and we saw mild southwesterlies. The southwesterlies that were meant to fuel the heavy snow instead actually brought lots of milder temperatures because the models had overstated the strength of the block to the north. So we're not seeing something like that this year where there was massive disappointment. There was a lot of backlash there as we were looking at very cold charts and suddenly it completely reversed. But at least this year it is looking mundane, not looking like there's going to be too much precipitation around, and that does look like the saving grace. It does look pretty dry at the moment. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. Hopefully should have a better format for the videos again tomorrow, and I'll see you again for another video soon.